Hi students, so in the previous lecture we have started lesson number 7, motion, force and work. Okay, so in that we have learned about the distance and displacement, after that average velocity. Okay, here average velocity we have calculated, as well as we have calculated velocity for the distance AB. Okay, so we have calculated velocity for distance AB, BC and CD. So velocity for distance AB is 60 km per hour. Velocity for BC is equal to 30 km per hour. Okay, so 60, here is the 60, here is the 30, and at last there is the 40. 60, 30 and 40 km per hour. This is the velocity. Okay, and today we are going to learn about the acceleration. Okay, see that in the previous example the truck covered the distance AB at the velocity 60 km per hour, BC 30 km per hour and CD 40 km per hour. Okay, so it means that velocity for distance CD is greater than the velocity for distance BC. Means see that CD velocity is greater than BC. Okay. Now, from the number of seconds required for these changes in the velocity to take place, the change in velocity as per the second can be deduced. Deduced means minimize. Okay. So, here time required is 30 minutes. Here time required is 20 minutes. Here time requirement is 10 minutes. Okay. So, according to time, velocity changes or decreases. This is called the acceleration. So, formula for acceleration is change in velocity upon time taken for the change. So, according to formula here we have calculated time taken about here a distance, that means change in velocity. Change in velocity means the distance. Change in velocity means the distance upon time. Time taken to cover this much distance. Time taken to cover this much distance. Okay. So, this is the formula for acceleration. Change in velocity upon time taken for the change. So, this is the formula for acceleration. Now, you know that the truck driver increases or decreases the velocity of the truck by means of accelerator. You know, four-wheeler. In the four-wheeler, there are three parts are there. One is accelerator, brake, okay, and one is the clutch. Okay, so with the help of accelerator we can increase or decrease the speed of car. Okay, so the velocity of the truck is controlled by means of the accelerator, or increase or decrease by means of the accelerator. That means we can increase or decrease the speed with the help of accelerator. Okay, so velocity of the truck increases or decreases by the accelerator. You might have seen a toy car that runs a clockwork spring. See, in the toys there is the spring. Okay, and when it is released on a flat floor, after winding up the spring it goes in straight line. However, when it is hit on one side it changes its direction and keeps going. Okay, so whenever we wind up the spring and afterward we stop that winding the spring, and that time what happens, that toy start to run, and when it will hit to any spot then it change its direction and again keeps going. Okay, if it collides into wall, if that toy collides with the ball, that time it stops, and it means that its velocity is changes. Velocity means its speed is changes. How did this change takes place? Okay, it happens because of car comes in contact with the something external to it on a football ground. How does a direction of football moving a straight line changes? By hitting someone, that direction will be changes while playing the football. Now we see some player changing in direction by the kicking it. That means whenever players playing the football, that means they can change the direction of football by hit it, by kicking it. Okay, when its direction changes, the velocity of the ball changes. Whenever direction of that ball changes, that speed or velocity of also changes. That is to say acceleration takes place. Okay, so the interaction that brings about the acceleration is called the force. Okay, so what is meant by force? The interaction that brings about or the activity that brings about by the acceleration is called the force, and force act on the body. Now unit of acceleration is meter per second. See that velocity or distance is measured in meter and time is measured in second. So unit of acceleration is meter per second square. Okay, now next, now see this experiment, this and this. Okay, so what is shown in this experiment? There is one flat board and marbles are there. Okay, see that, take a glass marble and let it roll on a big smooth table top. Okay, after some time its velocity will decrease and it will stop. On a carom board 2, the carom coin pushed by the sticker here, when carom coin pushed by striker will move forward some distance and then come to a stop. If coin is pushed after applying talcum powder to the carom board, it will keep moving for a longer time and then come to a stop. What we infer from this? When we use powder or talcum powder here, that means friction in between the striker and the board become less, and that's why it goes longer distance. So the velocity of the coin decreases due to the force of friction. Friction means friction between striker and the carom board. Okay, so the coin stops if the friction between the carom board and the coin is reduced. The coin keeps moving for a longer time whenever we are using the talcum powder. It means that if no force of friction is acting on a moving body, it will keep moving with a constant velocity. That means when friction force is less, that time velocity is more, or it's constant, it becomes constant. So the scientist Sir Isaac Newton was the first to study the force and resulting acceleration. So Newton is the first scientist who studied the friction and force and the resulting acceleration. Okay.